What's up, guys? It's your boy Cameron the Wolf, and today we're going to be reacting to daycare stories by Let Me Explain Studios. So I've watched Let Me Explain Studios for a few years now, and I decided why not my first reaction video be one of her videos. We may watch the second part in this video because there's a second part of this video, but don't mind me. Let's just get right into this video.
Oh, hello, my geeks and peeps, my explainers and entertainers, my little oodle-lollies. Rebecca Parham here. So, did you know I was a daycare
No,
kid?
I did not.
Probably not, because I've never mentioned it before. Makes sense, given that mom and dad were both working parents, and leaving one's infant at home alone is generally considered
Yeah,
problematic.
don't leave a mischievous kid alone. Yeah, don't. Just don't. Trust me, guys. Don't leave a mischievous kid alone. Never.
Now, I know it might be hard to believe, but I haven't always been the pinnacle of refinement and maturity that you see before you today. No. As a kid, I was a bit of a rascal. For example,
That hole in the window. What the fuck?
the box story. Now, at this daycare, we had a big playroom, and in this playroom, there was a dark little alcove where custodial stuff and equipment was kept all the time. And one morning during playtime, I noticed someone had left a large box there, big enough for a child to
Oh my
hide
god, I used to
behind.
play boxes so much as a kid. Oh my god. I used to draw on it and like it'd be so fun. Ah, the good times. Ah, the good times.
Now, there's a concept that I call kid logic, and it's basically just a name for that randomness that kids possess, or the absurdity that is their reason.
Yeah, I had a lot of random reasoning as a kid. Oh god. There's a lot of weird reasoning.
Sometimes. For example, when I saw that box, that's when my kid logic kicked in, and I said, I'm gonna hide behind that box for as long as possible and see what happens.
She would know that she would instantly regret that.
This is a great idea. So when the adults weren't looking, I slunk behind the box and crouched down, hiding myself entirely. I must have stayed there for half an hour before playtime ended, and they ushered all the kids away to a different room for a new
Oh.
activity. And funny enough, the adults were none the wiser I was
How did they
gone.
not
I've
know?
beat the
It must have
system.
been really fucking stupid.
Now this is what gets me. It took an hour of me hiding before an adult came back to the room and visibly began looking around for something. Couldn't imagine what it might be. Now where did I leave that small child? Must be around here someplace. I peeked my head up over the edge of the box to watch, but that proved to
Oh.
be my undoing. I was spotted! I've been compromised! I got in big trouble.
I mean, I've done a lot of hide and seek in the houses like way back, but I never sadly was a daycare kid. I should be thanked out of that.
Well, for that, of course. I was clearly not good at getting away with things when I was a kid, as you'll see in the next
Oh yeah, sorry for ads by the way, guys. I don't have YouTube Premium, so I'll put funny spots during these ads.
story. Now, one time at this daycare, they brought in a whiteboard, and you were only allowed to draw on it with adult supervision. Okay, I won't draw on the board. Instead, I stole a green dry erase marker when no one was looking and proceeded to decorate my face. Hey, listen, I didn't break the rules. They specifically said don't draw on the board. They said nothing about my face. I put the marker back and walked away, but was promptly spotted by an adult.
Yeah, I don't
Becca?
think I ever drew on my face as a kid. Thank God I didn't, because then I would have been a crazy kid with markers.
Did you do this to yourself? No. Did somebody do this to you? Yes. Who did it? Well, sheesh, I hadn't thought I had that far. And I honestly didn't even think to blame another kid.
I mean, you could just say, "Oh, this kid did it to me," and watch the chaos unfold. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Instead, that good old kid logic kicked in, and I came up with the most foolproof story that was sure to get my hide out of trouble. I was minding my own business looking for something to play with, and then the markers came over and marked on my face. Nailed it.
Yeah, that's logic. That's
I will
total
never
logic.
understand how that daycare worker kept a straight face. But off to timeout I went.
So, what are you in for? Disrupting the status quo?
How would a kid even know
Whoa.
what a status quo is? What kind of logic is that?
I stuck gum up my nose.
Something
What?
I haven't
Actually, kids did do that as kids. Thank God I wasn't a weird kid like that.
mentioned yet is that my sister Rachel also went to this daycare, and because she's 2 years older than me, she got to be in the big kids program called the Superstars. And I was so jealous that I took to calling them the Stupid Stars. Extra
I mean, I
crispy
was
on the
in school with my older brother, and it was kind of a good time. We barely saw each other, thank God, because we would have been really chaotic. The only time we saw each other was at the end of the day. That was a good thing.
that burn there, little Becca. But one thing that will always be a significant memory to me is the day I discovered that the Superstars had a Nintendo. Better yet, they had Super Mario
Oh my
Brothers.
God, good times with Mario. Oh my God. Mario to this day is just, or the older games are like so nostalgic. Mario Bros. 3 especially. Mwah. Masterpiece. Masterpiece. Master fucking piece. Mwah.
And that, my little oodle-ollies, was the first time I ever saw a console video game. I thought I was looking at magic. And that became the only thing I ever wanted to do at playtime was go over to the big kid area and watch them play Super Mario Brothers. Don't you dare tell me that gamers aren't real entertainers. I was watching people play
Oh,
video
hey, it's
games
Markiplier.
long before the
Oh.
Appliers and Septiceyes and D-Pies of the world made it a thing. But when playtime was over, the daycare staff had to
Nope.
pry me away, kicking and screaming from that TV set.
I mean, it's a video game console. If you weren't obsessed with like video game console as a kid, who were you? Like you can't judge. You can't judge, man. Daycare
One day,
workers.
however, I came up with a brilliant idea. When they pulled me away from the big kids' corner and sat me down with the other little kids, I proceeded to scream and cry that I miss my big sister, and nothing was gonna console me except being allowed to be with her in the big kid area.
How did they believe that?
I
Like, I mean, I would maybe believe that, but that would have been a really good idea.
guess the adults didn't know what else to do, so they actually let me go back over.
Holy Crayola, that actually worked.
Sure enough, I made a beeline for the Nintendo. Screw you, sis, I got video games to
Hey,
observe.
my sister's a really good person, so well, video games, bro.
It didn't take long for an adult to catch on, and I was eventually pulled away again. When I tried the same shtick, they gently said, Becca, you say you miss your sister, but every time you go over there, you just watch them play video games. Okay, maybe they
I knew they'd catch on. Why wouldn't they catch on? Unless you're like a not competent person, why wouldn't you be able to catch on?
had me there. Not gonna lie, that's a pretty solid accusation.
All right, grown up, I'll concede to you this time. But one day I'll be grown up, and I'll watch all the video games I want.
Don't you mean
Oh my
play
god,
them?
though, playing video games, like especially older games, is so nostalgic. Give me a nostalgia trip, man. Especially the Wii.
No. Now I've saved the best story for last. Even when I started kindergarten, there was no escaping this daycare, because one of the services they provided was picking up children from my elementary school and taking them back to the daycare where the parents could pick them up
Oh.
later. So every day I didn't get picked up by a parent or get on a normal yellow school bus, I waited for a big white van. That sounds rather nefarious now that I say it out loud.
Yeah, fucking doesn't it? Now we associate white vans with kidnapping kids. Not a good thing, isn't it? Why did I say that? That isn't really a good thing to say.
Yeah, Rachel and I would wait for the van, pile in with the other kids, and go wait to get picked up at the daycare. And this was a routine my kindergarten teacher knew. She was a very good teacher and kept track of the way each of her students were supposed to go home. So she would make sure I got in that van. Well, I was getting a little bored of the routine. And here's good old kid logic again, because many of my classmates would get to walk home. And for some reason, I decided that was the cool thing to
The
do.
sunglasses.
I aspired to walk home. But that wasn't gonna
Ooh,
happen with Miss
walking
Responsibility
home
Pants
is
botching my.
not my exact cup of tea. I don't like walking home. I mean, walking home can be a calm thing, but like car is just so much more better. Like I just don't like walking. Well, I mean, walking home isn't that bad, but like it depends on the weather. Just depends on the weather.
Whole operation. So, like the little devil I
Cringe.
was, I waited until we had a substitute teacher. Alright, here's your evil genius learner's permit, kiddo. When school ended
Evil
that day,
genius
instead
learner's
of getting
permit.
into the daycare van, I hid
Oh.
behind a brick pillar and waited for the van to leave without me. Funny how my sister never said anything.
Oh, yeah, right. She didn't say anything. I have a
She must
feeling
have been
she's gonna
like,
say something.
alright, I guess she died. As soon as the van left, I headed off on foot. My house was within walking distance, only about a mile away, but I began to think as I walked that no one was actually going to be at the house, and I had no
Yeah,
way of getting.
like having like I wouldn't be. I mean, I'm kind of trusted with house keys, but I wouldn't trust even myself with house keys sometimes. Like no, and especially with a kid that young. Don't trust a kid that young with house keys.
Getting inside. Probably should have thought of that before. So instead of walking home, I made the executive decision to walk to the daycare instead. Now, I knew what I was doing was against the rules, because every single time I saw a white vehicle of any sort
Oh
coming
no,
in the
white van, dip out. Meow.
distance, I would duck behind a tree or bush as fast as I could. When I was so close that I could see the daycare up ahead, I noticed
Oh,
what was
white van.
most definitely a white van approaching, and the only tree
Oh.
immediately
Only
available
two
was
trees.
thinner than me. So not only was this tree already insufficient at hiding me, but when I jumped behind it, I didn't think to put the tree between me and the line
Good
of sight of
logic.
the van. So when the daycare staff approached, this is what they saw. I'm revoking that evil genius learner's permit.
Yeah, that's right. Revoke it.
They stopped the van, made me get inside, and guess who I found in the back seat? The snitch that
I knew it.
ratted
I knew it. You can't trust her. You can't.
me out. My own
Dun
sister.
dun dun.
How could you? We were brothers, you and I.
Wait. And that is just a handful of examples of what a little monster I
And
was.
I think we'll have enough time in this video. And I props to who works on
I talked to my sister about this
uh
script, and she came up with
Let Me Explain
even more
Studios
stories about
videos.
this daycare. So if you guys like this video, then maybe there'll be another one in the future.
Plot
Who
twist.
knows?
There is
All right,
another one. We're gonna react to that one for no reason. Because I don't care. Oh my god, I hate ads. I'm not using my
Mobile
1 month
games are
YouTube
going
premium. You guys
big.
might argue with me that you guys want me to use that. No, not yet.
Play the official.
I think this came out like over 2 years later. So.
Oh, good evening, my geeks and peeps, my explainers and entertainers, my little oodle-ollies. You're just in time for tea. You
Hey, I'll
know, the
take some
last
tea.
time we were sitting at my dining room table, we were talking about daycare stories,
Yeah.
right? Well, who
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
love a good sequel? Let's jump back to the good old days of making daycare staff miserable. If you remember that last video, you'll remember that my sister Rachel and I went to this daycare together. She was with the big kids, I
Yeah.
was with the little kids. But the two of us had been going to this particular daycare literally from infancy, so the staff knew us. And we both had reputations. Rachel's nickname at this place was Rocky because she would start fights with older kids who were being mean. While
I mean the defender. hey, I'm respect. Respect. Rebecca sister. Respect.
Well, when I was about 18 months, I would go up to other kids just learning how to walk and push them over.
Menace. Absolute menace. Get her out of here.
Laughing maniacally. Listen, I got my devil tree out early. You best be thankful that I'm a good witch of the woods now. A typical day of daycare for the Parham sisters started early in the morning getting dropped off by a parent. And the experience was very different depending on which parent dropped us off. See, Rachel and I didn't like that our parents were leaving
I
us.
mean,
Frankly,
getting dropped off ain't that bad. Like,
we weren't that thrilled being left at daycare to begin with. But we knew to keep that sentiment to ourselves whenever Mom dropped us off. She was incredibly no nonsense, and our tears and screams would do nothing to sway her.
girl power.
She'd just
woman
drop
power.
us off and
I think girl
sashay
power.
herself out the front door without looking back. So we learned that her heartstrings couldn't be
What about
played
Dad?
on. But if Dad was dropping us off,
Oh my god. Dude, do you need therapy? Do you need therapy? Oh my god.
There's a game that both kids and adults play. When little kids play it, it's called dig in a
Yes.
random spot and hopefully find something. When adults play it, it's called Minecraft. Digging in dirt or sand to a
Hey,
kid,
hey, I
it's
play Minecraft. It's a good game. I'll maybe play it on this channel. Or
it's
comment
magical.
down if you want me to play it on this channel. Maybe I won't.
Mostly because of the slim chance that you might actually find something. But there were two main things that we were all digging for as kids. Say it with me:
Yeah.
buried treasure and dinosaur bones. Which makes archaeologists and paleontologists adults that never
Yep.
outgrew it. I caused some
And like especially in like sandboxes. Why were we like so obsessed with sandboxes? I'm not too obsessed with sandboxes anymore. I'm not a sandbox guy.
major property damage at daycare once by digging. You want to hear about it? Of course you do. One day, two kids and I were playing outside in a secluded,
Yeah.
shady part of the playground around the back of the building, a spot conveniently difficult for the adults to supervise.
I'm not saying have all eyes, just that's incredibly stupid, but it's like that.
The three of us were happily digging away in the dirt when, gasp, we actually found something.
The link music. This stuff.
That's the best thing about the positivity and the optimism of
Yeah.
kids. It doesn't matter what you found while playing this game, you still felt like Indiana Jones. And the three of us were thrilled that we had unearthed the rare and elusive water pipe.
It belongs in a museum.
But the moment the
Wait,
three
so
of
wait.
us walked
Dig straight down to where there's a water pipe. How do they not realize that?
away for just a second, leaving our dig site unprotected, a random boy saw the exposed pipe in the ground,
Oh god, no, I already know what's gonna happen.
picked up a
No,
big rock,
no.
and he took all the blame. And they had to shut down the water at the daycare for a few days to get it fixed. However, this next story, I absolutely got caught in the act, and I'm pretty sure
Alright.
it's one of those
Let's see this masterpiece.
universal childhood experiences. 'Tis a dangerous and often hilarious thing the first time a child figures out that hair is
Oh my god, haircuts. Haircuts are so crazy at times when you're young, bro.
meant to be
Legit.
cut, and
Crazy.
scissors are meant for cutting. We all put two and two together real fast, eyeballing those
Oh.
craft scissors in our school supplies. There was only one incident I tried to cut my own hair
Oh.
as a kid, and it was at daycare.
Dude, you
Of
know
course,
cutting your own hair is a mistake. A fucking mistake. Don't fucking do it ever, guys. Guys, if your young kids watching this, don't do it. Actually, wait, why would young kids even be watching this? I cuss all the time.
it happened during arts and crafts. I don't even remember what we were making, but it involved scissors, and the person who was supposed to be watching us made the fatal error of looking away for just a second.
I'm not saying they're stupid, but alright.
Because that
Oh,
was
no,
all
no,
the
no,
time
no,
I
young
needed.
Rebecca, no, no,
I
no,
grabbed a
no,
piece
no,
of my
no.
hair, raised the scissors up, and Rebecca,
That was close.
Don't you even
Oh.
think of it.
And she did it fucking anyway.
the daycare worker took me to the staff room to sit in timeout with her. A wise thing, not leaving me alone to my own devices. She sat at her desk writing down this little incident in my report card. Snitch. While I had to sit in a chair and not move. But every time another staff member walked in, this lady would say something like, "Hey, do you want to see what happens when Rebecca tries to cut her own hair?"
Ooh, freaking like any like staff calling you out be so frustrating, especially at school. Like I just hate that. Like damn.
Hair?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Let's fuck her up. Let's fuck her up. I'm kidding.
okay, Janet. I don't recall asking your opinion on my hairdressing skills, but if we're gonna start playing the shame game, I'm gonna let Kid Becca have the floor.
You think my hair's bad, but you paid someone money to make you look like that.
Oh. Absolute Karen
If you-
moment.
You let me do your hair, it would at least be an
Oh.
improvement.
I don't get paid enough for this.
And I don't get paid anything
Oh.
to tolerate you, but here we are.
Hello, Mrs. Parham.
Oh, the poster.
Yes, it's
Cute
Rebecca
poster.
again.
Cute. Oh, no. Did not make.
To tolerate you, but here we are.
Grab
Hello,
this.
Mrs. Parham. Yes, it's Rebecca again.
Mom, Mom, I saved you money on my next haircut.
Okay, I didn't actually say any of that. But man, I wish I was a fire-breathing roast lord back in the day. Then maybe I would have become an
Anywho.
actual stand-up comedian instead of an animator pretending to be one. Did you hear the one about crypto? So as I've said before, Rachel was in a different group than me and we had different activities, so we didn't always get to hang out with each other. But one day, while I was innocently playing with my fellow little
Whoa.
kids, an adult plucked me away from whatever I was doing and sat me at a table with Rachel far away from the rest of her group. It was unmistakable she had purposely been isolated from the other kids.
All right, what did you do? You haven't confessed, have you? Demand an attorney, they can't prove anything.
What actually happened was the staff had planned an activity where each kid was given a glob of
allergies.
peanut butter that they could sculpt into whatever they wanted. And the best part was that they would eventually get to eat their creations. The problem was, ever since childhood, Rachel has been deathly allergic to peanuts.
Yeah, I knew it.
Seriously,
Allergy.
it's a 911 call every single time.
That's a crazy creation of peanut
She's
butter.
that sensitive. I once opened a particularly potent jar of peanut butter, closed it after just a few seconds, and when Rachel walked through that area a minute later, her eye began to swell. So naturally, Rachel was not going to be allowed to play with the world's deadliest substance to her. Instead, they gave her some Play-Doh and made me come play with her so she wouldn't be alone. Wow, that sounds like such a wholesome sisterly moment.
That sounds like something a child would want to do. Especially a child her age. Yeah, totally.
Huh? Am I right? Right? Hey, Kid Becca, it's a wholesome sisterly moment,
wholesome
right?
moment.
Officer, I've never met this girl before in my life. Also, I should have peanut butter. Hey! Don't you try to drag me down with you.
Classic sibling fights.
Mind you, I did sit there the whole time playing with Rachel, just very angrily. But when the activity was over and Rachel was far away, they eventually gave me a little spoonful of peanut butter for my trouble. But oh my god, what an absolute brat, right? Never mind that it's a life or death situation where you could have one less sister by the end of the day. But hey, listen, I was not always inconsiderate of my sister. Sometimes I was very helpful. You all know about Smarties, right? Not the good kind, the
the American kind.
American kind.
American kind.
The bishop on the chessboard of loser candy. I will hear no arguments to the—
How dare you? No. Smarties are good. Almond Joys, though. Disgusting. You guys can argue with the comments. Disgusting. Disgusting.
the alternative. Well, this daycare was no stranger to giving out this candy as the occasional treat, and one day Rachel apparently had gotten her hands on a pack of them. The two of us were in nap time together when she rolled over and whispered,
Hey Becca, guess what? What? I got a Smartie stuck up my nose and I can't
How do you get a Smartie stuck up your nose?
get it out.
Now, as a bright young child with plenty of potential to eventually maybe one day be smart, I had a perfect plan of attack for the occasion.
I got a stick.
We all
Where'd you get a stick from?
stuffed random things into our pockets
That
as
might
kids, and apparently I had a stick that day.
Whatever you do,
Oh, no.
don't move.
I shoved the stick up Rachel's nose to try and get the Smartie
Yeah, that's not
out.
gonna help.
And as one would imagine, a stick is not the most effective nor sanitary
Yeah, no, it
tool
ain't.
for such
No,
a
it ain't.
job. So all I really accomplished was pushing it further up her nose.
Oh.
Ow! This may turn into brain
Bro,
surgery.
I think I choked on it. So, fun fact, they have these giant Smarties. I think as a kid, I choked on one of them by accident. And, like, I didn't die or anything, but I was, like, so close to choking on one of them, and I eventually spat it out somehow. I don't know how I did, but that was a life or death situation. I'm surprised I'm fucking alive.
Soon.
Just as I thought the Smartie could go no further up Rachel's nose,
Oh.
a daycare staff member walked by and was treated to this cheery sight.
Yeah, I would not be
Hey, wouldn't you know it, that little extra push caused it to dislodge and fall down the back of Rachel's throat.
Well, there you go. Crisis
She's gonna die, you idiot.
averted.
You know, my dad used to tell people that I was smart enough to be a doctor.
You're not.
I think he was
Yeah.
lying. Alright, explainers, just one more thing. There are only a couple days left to pre-order the Witch Becca
that's right.
doll and the new
This video is a little old. Well, if you can't buy her merch, I don't have enough for me to get my own merch, but you can buy her merch.
pen set. These are very limited edition items. We will not be
I've
making
only
them
had
again. So link to the store in the description below. Whew, alright, explainers and
But-
entertainers.
that was Daycare Stories 1 and 2. Like, I'm gonna do more reaction videos on this channel. This is just wanted a short video I wanted to get out because I didn't post like in the last 2 weeks. I wanted to get a short little video out for you guys, because the Roblox Hunt thing is out, so that gives me a chance to also play some Roblox for you lovely people. And thanks for the views too. Views on the last video, I'm checking right now, 95. You guys don't be liking them very much. I'm glad you're really seeing it. And this is Cameron the Wolf. Oh wait, first, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll still give you a cookie maybe if I can, because there's only 12 viewers subscribed, but who cares? Anyway, this is Cameron the Wolf signing off. Maybe if I can get Happy Cut.